very special edition of the Buck Stops here, coming to you from Jantar Mantar as we see the Not In My Name campaign taking place not just here in Jantar Mantar but in cities around the country. Now, this of course is ground zero of this campaign that is protesting against targeted mob violence in the name of caste and religion. This was sparked off by one Facebook post, which in fact was Sabha Diwan's Facebook post. She decided after 16-year-old Junaid's killing that staying silent was no longer an option. And it was her heartfelt outpouring on Facebook that seems to have sparked off this spontaneous citizens movement that we are now part of. Sabha, I'm going to begin with you today, and of course we'll also be going across to lawyer Vrinda Grover joining us today, Harsh Mandar, Ravi Shergill, who's performed on stage, sung some of his songs this evening, and author Samit Basu also with us on the show tonight. But Sabha, I'm going to begin with you. You were very certain that this was going to be a citizens' protest only. You said politically affiliated people were welcome this evening only if they kept their political affiliations aside.
Everyone is welcome. Okay. All citizens are welcome. But we welcome everyone as citizens. We have, but about political parties, this is a citizens movement and we'd like to keep it like that.
But why was it that you felt that you had to exclude politicians in that sense? You were very certain you didn't want to sit on a panel with a political figure, even though we have seen many today. Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, was here. Congress leaders are here as we speak. Why is it that you felt politicians should not be part of this campaign at least? Is there a message there?
No, it is no. I don't have a moral outrage or anything with politicians, although I do feel very let down by them. And the kind of silence, even after Junaid, they haven't actually gathered the courage to speak up, which is a shame, our opposition. But actually the reason, one reason that we want to be clear from political parties is that our strength lies in the fact that we are of a citizens' protest. And that way, we have the way it has travelled from one city to another. It's been, there's a sense of ownership that people have over it, and if linking it to, or any kind of an association, even though if there is none, but just having even an implied association with any political grouping means that the possibilities of, people joining in, different kinds of people joining in, start getting limited.
Vrinda, do you feel that mainstream political parties have failed to provide the kind of opposition or the kind of voice that we needed against mob violence, against the targeted lynchings that we have seen, incidents of which seem to have become so very frequent now? There's a very telling line in a recent editorial which says, when Muhammad Akhlaq died, there was a loud voice which has become a murmur now with Junaid. How do we bring that back?
I think what we are seeing is a culmination of the complete absence of any ethics in mainstream politics. We have reached this because across the political spectrum, there is no integrity, there is no ethics, there is no conviction of any kind of values on which this politics is being played out. Electoral politics have reduced all of us to just somehow garnering votes. And if today in India, Hindus do form the largest vote bank, and let me tell you, what you saw in UP was BJP's vote bank politics of consolidating the Hindu vote, which is the majority vote in the country. If that is what electoral politics is all about, and if a political party's only business is to win seats, they have nothing to do with the constitutional democracy. Today, therefore, citizens have stepped in because political parties have no political integrity or ethics left.
Harsh Mandar, you were one of the citizens, in a sense, who actually visited the family of Junaid. It's this particular killing that I think has really evoked the conscience of a nation. A 16-year-old who went shopping for Eid gifts, coming home, and racial slurs, religious slurs, being pushed out of a train. What is it, do you think, at this point that we as citizens can do we can have these campaigns, we can speak up for a day or two. How do we prevent atrocities from happening again? Because they seem to have become so alarmingly frequent.
I think the very first thing is to recognize that Junaid was my son. He was your brother. He belongs to us. He was one of us. You know, the sense when I went to his family yesterday, the desolation that they felt, you know, that they said they were frightened. His mother said, "Nadan tha, isliye topi pehen liya." You know, I feel, in fact, I'm planning to start tomorrow to wear a topi, a skull cap. Let's have a campaign. Let's all wear skull caps. Let's all wear with hijabs. Let us say that if being a Muslim is something that you have to be frightened about, then I am a Muslim. Till a Muslim is stigmatized. I think that, you know, the sense of fear of very ordinary people trying to lead a good life. What was Junaid's story? They were telling me Junaid somehow wanted to be a Junaid wanted to be a Hafiz. Hafiz means that he learnt the Quran completely by heart. And a day before he got killed was when he had finished his first performance before his village of reciting the Quran from heart. They had given him some money, he went to buy some gifts, and to come back, now they're saying everybody's frightened to even wear any Muslim marker. It reminds me of the 80s when Sikhs were frightened of wearing their markers. What kind of country do we have? I mean, I think that really is...
I think it's an important point that's being made today, that it's not just about religion or about targeting a minority community alone. People are saying we are here to reclaim the Constitution. I've been speaking to people who've come today. There was a disability rights activist who I spoke to today who said, I'm a minority too, and my minority is perhaps more visible than yours. But obviously visible markers of religion are something that go against people now, that, you know, single them out for this kind of hatred, this kind of treatment.
Yeah, actually, it's very strange that, you know, I'm not that old, and I get to feel this this dark fear in the pit of my stomach again. You know, the last time it happened to us, I was in school, and it's happening again, and I can just see what's happening, and it seems like the pieces are being moved in place. And yes, like you pointed out, it's the Constitution, but you know, Constitution is again a book. I think you and I, we were before this book a long time here. Something is just, I don't know, some person's or one organization's view of India is being imposed, projected, and it's riding roughshod over all of us. And I'm deeply scared in the pit of my stomach.
Samant, is that something that you would agree with?
I can barely hear anything over the music, but from what I could make out, I agree totally. And see, I think what's important here is that as citizens, we are demonstrating that even if our politicians can't cooperate on a single thing and put up a united front, if they can't represent an inclusive, tolerant, secular India, someone will have to. So I think it's fantastic that people themselves are stepping up. You know, so what we're seeing here is an India that is real, that exists as much as any other, and it's no one has the right to try and take it away from us.
All right, so you're essentially saying that these are citizens who feel that they have to take over in a sense because they feel let down by the political classes. They feel that there is really not much of a response, not much of an opposition that is being offered.
And so look, it's not even about opposition. The entire political class appears to have no integrity, no interest in representing the interests of the people who voted them into power, right? So something like this, these incidents, this is not even about what your political beliefs are. As a human being and as a citizen, if you're not concerned with what the country has come to, then you're failing in your duty as a citizen. And I think that, you know, the fact that an inclusive, tolerant, secular India is not a work of fiction. It's something that we all are old enough to remember, and it's something that needs to come back.